microphone. All right, we have 9:02 a.m. on this happy Valentine's Day. We'll call to order the Truckee River Flood Management Authority with a roll call.
Hello, everybody. Donald Abbott.
Here.
Alexis Hill. I see her online. Okay.
Here.
Clara Andriola.
Present.
Naomi Dewar.
Here.
Ed Lawson.
Here.
Miguel Martinez.
Here.
With the roll call.
Thank you. Mr. Walls, is this the right time for you to read? Yes, sir.
Those who wish to make public comment by telephone may do so by calling 1-253-215-8782 and using access code 861-1853-2620. If you are unable to access the meeting with that number, please call Michael Wolz at 775-813-1662. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We will go to a Pledge of Allegiance. How about Mayor Lawson? We'll let you lead it. You never get to lead it anymore.
All right, please join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Keep up.
There's no comma.
No comma. No comma in the Pledge of Allegiance there. All right, thank you, sir. We'll move on to item 1B, public comment. Do we have any public comment? And if you want to make public comment, there should be cards somewhere. Right outside.
I have not received any.
Perfect. I don't see anyone jumping. Then we'll go to item C, approval of the agenda. Looking for a possible motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Stewart. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Andriola. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Item D, announcements and clippings. Mr. Robeson.
Yeah, I do have a few announcements. First of all, I gave draft CIP presentations to Washoe County as well as the Reno City Council. And the final CIP or the draft CIP for us will be coming next month. On March 12th, we'll be saying this in a staff report, but on March 12th at 6 p.m. at the McKinley Arts Center, we are going to present on the Rock McCarran design, alternatives analysis draft. We're also going to debut our videos there, especially the It Could Happen Tomorrow video. So that's pretty exciting to me. Vista permitting, we have had progress on that. We've had meetings January 8th. We're having a follow-up next week. And that seems to be going pretty good at this point. We were deauthorized on January 4th by President Biden signing the WRDA bill. On number 5, the FEMA and how much workload they have. So that's all the announcements I have.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Robeson? I don't see any. Thank you, sir. We'll go to item 2, consent items. Looking for a motion on consent items 2A, 2B, and 2C. Motion by Ms. Andriola. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Martinez. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 3, discussion and possible action to elect the 2025 Flood Management Authority Board of Directors Chair and Vice Chair. Mr. Walls.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The TRFMA Interlocal Cooperative Agreement provides that the board shall elect from its membership a chair and a vice chair who shall be elected and qualified and serve for terms and perform duties as provided in the bylaws. If you are unable to elect a chair today, the sitting chair will continue until a qualified chair is elected.
Pleasure that. Awesome. Any
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, Miss Hill.
Thank you very much. And I'm sorry I'm not in person. I'm headed to a ribbon cutting for a treatment center that the county helps support. But I wanted to make a nomination for chair. I think it would be great if you could continue on in a second year. You've done an amazing job, Chair Abbott, and I would like to nominate you.
Second.
Thanks.
I don't want any discussion.
Well, I guess we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll gladly continue to serve if you guys want me to. Perfect. Then I'm looking. We already have a motion second. All in favor?
Before the vote, could we please call for public comment?
Yes. Looking for public comment.
I don't see any.
Sounds good. We have a motion and a second. All
Wide range
in,
of support.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Looking for a vice
Mr.
chair.
Chair?
Apologies, I'm going to start the recording.
We need to redo anything?
Recording in progress.
Mr. Walls, do we need to redo anything?
No.
No, I've got.
Okay, we have the notes.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to nominate Miguel Martinez from City of Reno as the vice chair. First of all, I don't think a member of Reno has been one of those roles for a number of years. Number two, a lot of the flooding occurs in Mr. Martinez's ward, Ward 3. And number three, this big project that we're about to undertake at Mill and McCarran is also in Mr. Martinez's ward, and I just think it'd be a great opportunity for him, so.
Roger that. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions, comments? Ms. Hill, if you have your hand up, I don't see anything, but are you okay with that, Ms. Hill?
And no disrespect, Ms. Hill's been a leader in our entire community, currently chair of the Washoe County Commission, on numerous committees with me, does an amazing job. I just thought it might be a good opportunity for another member to step up. So thank you, Ms. Hill.
Okay. Well, we have a motion and a second. I'll ask for public comment. I saw you, Mr. Walls. I saw the eyes. I saw the glare. Do we have any public comment?
I don't see any, no.
Awesome. Then we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please vote, or please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll be sure to miss a few meetings so you can run them. Just kidding. Item 4, presentation and discussion of the Riverside Drive flood wall and berm design project in Reno, Nevada, including the estimated costs, protection levels, and flood protection elements of the proposed design. Possible action to authorize staff to begin negotiations of a joint funding agreement with the City of Reno and Carson Truckee Water Conservancy District for construction of the Riverside Drive flood wall and berm project, with an estimated contribution by TURPM of approximately $3 million for possible action. Mr. Robeson.
Yeah, thank you. Do we have a presentation on that? All right. Am I still echoing? All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it's still echoing.
Sorry, George, I'm going to go talk with the tech person.
We'll just take a little 5-minute recess.
Test 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're back on.
How is this working now? This looks good now. Okay, so can we restart?
Yeah, we'll come back from our little break.
All right, thank you, Chair Abbott, again, your chair again. And this is just a quick presentation. We have been talking about Riverside Drive now for several meetings. And we have been working in cooperation with Reno. Could you go hit the next slide? we've been working in cooperation with Reno as well as the Carson Truckee Watershed Conservation District on trying to get a solution for this to be able to let the river contain at least 14,000 CFS. And this has been an ongoing problem for over a decade now, I believe. So we have looked at this as we've done it independently, and we've done it with the group as well to try to find a solution that doesn't wreck that neighborhood. I think it's very important to keep the character of that neighborhood. And so what we've come up with is a small maintenance activity along that area, along downstream from Booth Street. And then upstream of Booth Street, there is a fairly large breakout that would need to be handled by a flood wall because it's very tight in there, and there's more of a breakout, more height is needed, et cetera. So that's kind of the solution that is the solution that we have come to. And under the direction of the CTWSD or CD, they have continued to work on this, and they've come to a cost estimate. Earlier cost estimates were right around $3 million. As of 15 minutes ago, it is now 3.6 million approximately. And so this is an approximate estimate. It will be in this range, but that is the current estimate, is 3.6 million as of, say, 15 minutes ago. And so that's where we're at with this. And what we are asking you to do, next slide, please. What we are asking to do, and I'll just go, these are background things that you can read. Let's go to the next slide. As you know, the work area is around the Booth Street Bridge and down to Arlington. And this is just for review quickly. Another slide, please. And this is the area of the worst breakout right there, right upstream of Booth Street Bridge. This is where the flood wall needs to be a fairly high flood wall that will cost some money. And next slide, please. So the improvements would be a slight rise on the berm, and it would improve some sections of the path. And the action would be performed to save trees and other existing features. That's a very important point. And that is why the cost is so elusive on some of this stuff, is what exactly do you have to do to make sure that you don't kill trees unnecessarily. And so that's one part of it. Next slide, please. The other part of it is the wall, which it would have to go through a 408 permitting. And so it's possible that we would have one agreement for the maintenance activity and one agreement for the wall, or we can try to put it all into one agreement. But what we want to do is lay out an agreement with the City of Reno, because we're not going to manage the construction. We're going to allow City of Reno to do that. So it would be similar to what we did with Virginia Street Bridge. We would create a funding agreement and give them the money so that they can do the construction. And right now, this slide was made more than 15 minutes ago. So it said 1 million for the path and 2 million for the wall. Now it's the total of 3.6 million, not 3 million. So that is a slight difference. But what we're asking for is authorization to negotiate with Reno, and as needed with the Carson Truckee Watershed Conservation District, to come into a funding agreement so that we can complete this work. They would like to complete the path as soon as possible, possibly even this summer. The other one will take some time because of permitting. So with that, that's the end of my presentation. We do have a possible motion. I believe that is on page, 49?
Awesome.
Yeah, so so we're asking a move to authorize to get into negotiations. And I'm sorry that I don't, the price is floating around, but until we get more and more designs and a better idea, that's what's going to happen with this. And that's why we said approximate.
Discussion. Thank you, sir. Ms. Dewar.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first, I want to thank you, George, for working so assiduously on this and really keeping your focus. This is a very important project to the city of Reno and really to the entire flood project. It's been on the list for a long time, somehow fell off, it got put back on the list. And I like what you said, a number of things you said. One is that we want to work with the existing environment in terms of preserving the trees. And I think there's some ways to do that, like where the trees are, to build it higher and create an area around the tree so we can leave the tree right where it is and still maintain the levee function. I also liked what you said about having Reno handle the construction. I think that makes sense. I mean, it's a relatively small project in the scheme of things that we have built here. And it reminds me, I think you mentioned the Virginia Street Bridge. It's rather like that. But there is a difference. One, you said that you expect the flood project to pay the full amount, and you mentioned that at the City of Reno. You were just there on Wednesday. And I think that's appropriate. You know, we'll handle things that are not the flood-related items, but the flood-related items, I think that's a really good way to go. I want to make sure that we do include our staff in your negotiations now, because obviously the things you're doing now will set up the construction for success or failure in terms of how the project is scoped, how the negotiation with the whoever wins the bid, so to speak. And I just want to make sure, and I'm sure you were thinking of this already, to make sure we have the Reno staff at the table throughout the process. And I think that was probably your intent. I just thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah, and that is true. We have Carrie right here,
Yeah,
and we have been
and
working
Trina.
very close. Oh, and Trina too.
Yeah.
Where is she?
She's
Oh,
over,
there you are.
they're on opposite sides
Okay,
of the
so
room.
yeah, so both staff, these two with me, and then of course with Kayla from the Watershed Conservation District. All three of us, or all four of us, have been working closely together.
Yeah, well, I just encourage you to, that's a great model, and I just want to encourage you to keep going down that path. I think that's very good. So that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other questions or comments for anyone?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
if
Mr.
I may,
Rolls.
just for clarity, there's a possibility that this could actually return to the board as two separate agreements, one for the berm and the other for the flood wall, just because of some of the permitting issues, just so you're aware of that.
Okay. Well, I know we did permitting on the Reno Sparks Indian Colony levee and flood wall. That was a twofer, and we didn't get two different permits or anything, but.
We certainly don't want to delay work on the berm, I think.
But I
that's-
will say, this is longer, I think. I mean, this is a longer length than the Reno Sparks Indian Colony, I think. It seems like it to me. What do you think, George?
Yeah, it is. And when the Indian Colony levee and flood wall was done, that was a package more. I mean, there were two different structures, but they had similar permitting issues. This one doesn't even have permitting because it's a maintenance action. And then the other has probably a 408 and a 404 permit on it.
Okay.
That's
So
why.
in maintenance, so you're saying it won't be considered new under a core review? It'll just be like an amendment or something?
The exact way that would be laid out is more between Kayla and the Corps.
Okay, I see.
But yeah, it doesn't require that permitting, and so it can be done fairly quickly,
Gotcha.
while the other one might take a year or two
Okay.
because of the permitting.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments? I know it's for possible action, so I got to ask for public comment, right, Mr. Wolves?
Yes, sir.
Good to go. Any public comment?
I don't have any public comment.
Awesome. Then we
I'll
are.
make a motion.
I
All
got
right.
a motion right here. If you want it.
Oh, all right. Can read it there. All right, I recommend that the board, Truckee River Flood Management Authority Board, approves authorization for staff to negotiate a construction funding agreement with the city of Reno for an approximate amount of $3 million plus.
Perfect. We have a motion. Looking for a second. Second by Andriola. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 5, presentation and update on the status of the Rockton McCarran design agreement with JUB Engineering and preliminary agreements or preliminary elements of the design plan. Possible action to give directions to staff. Mr. Robeson and Mr. Dyer.
Thank you, Chair Abbott. I like that we're going to continue to call you Chair Abbott. But could we get the next slide, please? All right, so this is about the Rock McCarran project. This is another thing that you've had multiple presentations on, but it's very exciting because we are making progress on this design. They have just gotten through the alternatives analysis and created a draft of it. And now it's time to have that draft reviewed, have community meetings, get feedback, and then come with a preferred design at that point, and then move ahead into design. And that's where we're kind of at right now. We're going to go into the public and the stakeholders reviewing, et cetera, during this phase. So the Rock McCarran, as I said, both at the county and the city, even though it's not our foundational project like Vista is very important for a lot of reasons, for mitigation, for keeping the water level down, et cetera. But it is the most exquisite of our projects. It does all kinds of different things. It can be used to increase habitat and improve habitat for salmonid species and other aquatic species. It has the potential to be a very nice park and have all kinds of amenities. So there's a lot to this project, and that is one of the reasons early on it was brought forward sooner for design. Now we've learned through all the work we've done that it really needs to be done second after Vista, because when you bring all that water in, we really have to do something there to alleviate a big mess. So next slide, please. So this is an older slide. I put it here only to lay out all the different things that are going on Rock McCarran. There are terraces. There is the potential of enhanced channel, rechanneled river. There is possible things that might need to be done on the McCarran Bridge because of all the extra water coming down from the other projects. There's areas for ball fields and other improved recreation area. There is levees on both sides that would protect the surrounding areas, not just from a 100-year flood, but from a 117-year flood, which is larger, plus considerable freeboard. So we're trying to take the project and make it a little more stout against flooding, because let's be honest, the 100-year flood has evolved several times, and we want to make sure that when we're done with this, it's still the 100-year flood we're protecting for if it's increased again. And then there is this optional intermediate levee berm that we've been talking about doing, and there's pros and cons to it. Most of the cons are cost. Most of the pros are it protects the more refined recreation areas, and also it does allow for a little bit flow attenuation, more so than just not having it there. Next slide, please. So currently, this is what this looks like. There's, concrete pads. There's still an existing landowner there for about 1.2 acres. We have this area in farmland mostly, and we have been on agreements, maintenance agreements with 2 different farmers, and we're in great agreements. We're going to be hearing about some of those later today. This is the existing condition of the Rock McCarran area. And next slide. The idea right now is the river is right up against the north side. It's been pushed up against the north side. There's flood walls that actually hold the river towards that north side. They're not adequate to keep a flood out, but they are adequate to keep the river tamed. And so the river is pushed up, and you can see where that arrow is. There's like 3 buildings right up against the river. There's very little room to work there to build a levee. So we have been thinking all along that we need to move that river, and also we want to have the river be in a more natural state with the ability to have side channels and things like that, so there's not so much pressure on the river when these larger flows, this extra 8,000 CFS of water from the other projects comes into this reach. So these are things that the design team has been working on that include geomorphologists, geotechnical engineers, environmental people, recreational specialists, et cetera. That's a large team that looks at multiple disciplines and multiple issues on this property. But that is a big issue, is that it's right up to the north. And so next slide, please. The alternative that we're looking at right now, it's a draft, a tentative thing that we want to have some sort of recommendation to go forward with, but we're very open to, comments and suggestions and, no, it should be this or that. But one of the things we're looking at, if you look at this option, is the main stem of the river is pushed south, and it has more meandering and more side channels and things, features such as alcoves, which provide more habitat to salmonid species. And because it's more spread out like that, you can put spawning gravel in there and probably maintain it. That needs to be designed, but that's a real possibility there. And where that arrow is, like right at the end of it, not the tip, but the other side, in that area is where that intermediate levee berm area is, along there. And so that delineates the nature-based area that's meandering and it's natural, and there's these low levees and riparian vegetation and wetlands. And then on the other side, you would have more of a refined recreation experience, such as ball fields or parking and other features like that. So next slide, please. So this is not a design. This is just showing what might be possible with this with most of the configurations we have, if not all of them. There is a possibility for several ball fields. I believe it's 11, 700 parking stalls, areas for maintenance, areas for other general things in the refined area. But that's not designed yet. This is just like, let's see what we can fit in there kind of a thing at this point. Next slide, please. And so you can see that there's 11 ball fields, there's 700 stalls, there's areas for maintenance, that's 99,000 square feet. That's roughly 2 acres, close to 1.75 acres or something like that. And then there's active recreation amenity area. That would be a few acres as well. And that's in that area on the other side of the berm flood wall, or where we think the water comes up and we're going to build up that area as a higher terrace. So there is also a large area for passive recreation, which would include nature trails, river access, and things like that as well. So all these options have recreational features to them, both passive and active. And but the main point of this is it protects us from flooding the industrial area, the airport, and the Reno industrial areas. All 3 of those areas are protected by this levee. There's breakouts that affect all 3 areas at this point. Next slide. And this is some of the things that the team has been looking at. They've been looking at with these different areas, with these different configurations, and we have multiple configurations. Some are more open, some don't change the river at all, etc. And you can see that with a levee or without a levee berm, you can see that the refined recreation area can be affected. Like right now, it's affected every 2 years. If we build a full-on large levee, it could go up to 32 years. So it stays relatively dry for a long time. So that's kind of the range there. And so what we're trying to do is get a blend of protection for that, also flow reduction, but also we have to look at the cost, because having a third levee can add upwards of $10 million to the budget, which is about close to 20% of the budget. So we're trying to balance all that out. Berms are cheaper than levees because levees have a lot of, when you say the word levee, there's a lot of things that go into a levee that may not be necessary to protect ball fields, whereas a levee is protecting, like, let's say, a school or a business or something like that, where if water gets into that, it's really bad news. But here, you know, these ball fields, et cetera, are going to be built to withstand flooding, and it would be a light maintenance activity to get them back. Next slide, please. So where are we at with this? We are in stakeholder review and refinement and community information right now. And that's what we're going to have is the community meeting Wednesday, March 12th at the McKinley Arts Center at 6 p.m. Really excited about that meeting. We're going to debut our videos there to kick it off. Also, we are going to eventually choose a preferred alternative and then take that into 30% design. That'll be later this spring into summer. Then hopefully we review and evaluate the 30% design and then carry that on to the 60% design. Now, schedule is end of year. That is an aggressive schedule, but we're hoping to finish by the end of the year. They're still actually on schedule, which is amazing. So kudos to JUB on that. But the point is that we're moving forward with this. We're on schedule, and we're going to be having stakeholder meetings later today to get into a little more detail about what's going on with this project with our TAC. So next slide. With that, this is just informational. We'll know where we're at with all this, and so I'll take any questions, comments, suggestions, etc.
Thanks, Mr. Robeson.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Dewar.
Yeah, well, I've got a few things and maybe too long, so I can do a second round if necessary. But I just, you know, again, I think this is the only project I cried when we passed the motion. I was so excited that we're actually here today at this project. You've touched on so many things, so I'm just going to try to ask a couple quick questions. You said that there's still a landowner, a private landowner. And so I wonder, are we going to be negotiating with them to get the final land acquisition for that?
We have talked with that landowner. We have been trying to get a grant. We have applied for a grant. It's in a certain status right now, but as you know, the grants and everything, and it's a FEMA grant. So there's a whole lot of question marks right now with that. We may need to go ahead without the grant.
Yeah, I mean, we have enough money in our bank account to buy it, I would guess. But I understand we always want to have an alternate revenue source. And if you have an opportunity to get a grant, that's amazing. But on the other hand, if it gets too late in the process, you know, it's going to really slow down the whole development, your schedule. The next question I had was about McCarran. You showed everything sort of pinching down where McCarran crosses the river. And what I was wondering is, when you're talking with the design team, can you talk to them even out of the box in terms of widening that section? I don't know if it's possible to do some reconstruction just on the south bank of the Truckee where the bridge crosses, but also to work with the university so that, I mean, that's a big constraint on your design right now, is that everything's got to fit under that bridge. And if you could widen the bridge.
Yeah, if it says 36 year, that means on average a flood would get in there once every 36 years.
So if we have a 100-year flood, that's happening every 10 years. It sounds like a 36 year return frequency might happen every 3 years. That's kind of where I'm going. So it does worry me. I hope you'll look at bigger return flow, frequencies, so that we can protect whatever investment Reno or the flood project or county makes in this area. And then two last things. One, on coordination. I was really pleased what you said earlier about coordinating on the riverside, and I just want to confirm, I guess, that you're going to continue that kind of coordination, because, and I don't know who you're going to actually end up having build this, whether again you have Reno do it or the flood project, but I'm sure you'll figure that out. But whoever does it, we all have to sign off on that, and I'm sure you're working very hard on that. Is that true?
Yeah, when we picked the team, we had members from every TAC entity to pick that team.
Okay.
And we have been taking input from every TAC person, you know, and that's even wider than the two cities and the county.
Yeah. But I'm
as well.
talking about the detailed design, you know, where you roll up your sleeves and you're actually working one-on-one. So I hope that's happening too. I know when RTC was building the Southeast Connector years ago, the flood project staff met weekly with them on helping them to design. So I just want to encourage that kind of coordination, you know, that you guys work closely so the project meets all of the many goals. And then I guess one more thing, and I don't want to take up too long. Other people want to speak, but I'm happy you're doing the stakeholder outreach in terms of the general public. But I'm also concerned because it's the same day as our Reno City Council meeting, and we've been having a lot of appeals in the evening. And I know Councilmember Reese expressed interest in attending. I had hoped to attend, but we may not be. You know, I assume Councilmember Martinez would want to attend, but we're probably not going to be able to attend, even though it's about a project in Reno, but, you know, your main people that are involved, interested, can't really attend. So going forward, I just want to ask that, you know, you look at all of our schedules and just see, you know, where the meetings are. And it might not be a council meeting or commission meeting. It might be a different, you know, kind of meeting. But the other thing I wanted to say is you had a pretty aggressive schedule for the stakeholder review. And I know sometimes it doesn't all happen, you know, the day you want it to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if at this first meeting, you might have to reveal the options and let people think about it and cogitate, and then come back with another meeting where you take some input now that they've been informed, because they're coming in cold. They don't know what you've been working on. This is going to be a first blush for the general citizenry, not the people that are on the working group or the TAC. So I want you to like consider modifying your schedule a little bit. I know it took us a long time to get here. But I also know that a lot of times, what do they say? Preparation is key, and if we spend a little time on the foundational effort, the whole thing's going to go better. So I would just caution to not get too wrapped around what I think is a very aggressive schedule, frankly. I'm glad that you're doing a reach, but I want to make sure that the general public has, you know, awareness. Just getting them to come to a neighborhood advisory meeting sometimes takes a lot of notice and outreach to let them know it's happening and that they have an opportunity. So those are just some of the, you know, my thoughts right off the top based on your presentation. So thank you.
Mr. Martinez.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the information, Mr. Robeson. I think that really summed up a lot of what we had been hearing in bits and pieces, and just helps me further understand where the project is. And a lot of what I was going to comment, Member Dewar already said, but I'll just highlight.
Please reiterate.
Yeah, a couple of them, which is making sure that we continue to stay engaged with our stakeholders. You said there was a TAC meeting today. Is that concerning this project, or is that on something else?
Yeah, that's all about this project.
Okay.
And it's a more detailed TAC meeting
Yeah.
about
great.
the project.
Awesome. Thank you for putting that together and adding it, because I know it's going to help everybody feel like they're more engaged and they're being heard throughout this process. Yeah, I think we do have a hearing scheduled for the day where you have the meeting scheduled. So I don't know if any one of us will be able to make it, but looking forward to continuing to be informed about the project and the progress and what's happening at Mill McCarran. Thanks for the presentation.
Gotcha. And just on the TAC, it looks like it's at 12:30. We should have, and everyone should have an email on it. So it's a Zoom meeting. If anyone wants to tune in, I'm sure it's okay for any board members to hop on that are interested.
Well, I don't think we want to attend a TAC meeting. We were hoping to attend the public meeting.
No, I understand that.
Oh,
one.
okay.
I think the TAC came up, and there's an email on February 7th that if anyone's interested.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
Yeah.
March 14th. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
Will you just, though, George, keep us informed? I mean, you nodded, so it sounds like you'll do some efforts on the scheduling. You answered about the building, like we're looking for a grant, but at some point it'll be go, no go. On the bridge, did that make sense to look at what we could do at McCarran, even if it means, you know, reconstructing a portion of the bridge, if that's like a bottleneck? You know, is that something?
The bridge is something that we're already looking at because the bridge capacity, it was great when you only had, when you had everything flooded out, like the airport and the Sparks industrial area and the Reno industrial area. But now that it's all in the river, the bridge is really at capacity and it's getting close. So we're later in design, we're going to look at ways of dealing with that bridge. One of the things is we do have to, when you're going into a tight spot like that, you have to kind of tighten it up before you get there. If you do it like all of a sudden, there's actually a coefficient drop there. So you don't want that. But you do want to, we're going to be looking at how to make that capacity as much as possible.
Because really, that's like its own Vista Narrows. Vista Narrows, we're widening because it's a bottleneck. And so this is a very narrow area too that it seems like we have to widen.
Right,
Yeah.
but we are looking at the bridge. Just to tell you, there is an opportunity to widen that bridge without spending too much money. It's not so much widening the actual bridge, but there's fill in there where there doesn't need to be.
Right.
So we're going to be looking at that, but that to me is more of a 30% design issue. Like we're just trying to get more capacity out of that bridge.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We go?
Yeah.
Perfect. I see it's just for possible action, so no motion needed. We will, right, Mr. Walls, we're good?
Correct.
Perfect. I'll figure this out someday. Item 6.
Got
Another year, right?
One more year.
Item 6, right? Yeah. Report by Green Vibe regarding their activities on Churchman properties at 1725 South McCarran Boulevard and 5305 Mill Street, Reno, Nevada. Mr. Salt.
I'll just
Bonus.
introduce them. Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Danielle Henderson, Natural Resource Manager for the record. I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Andrew Sauls and Mr. St. John Smith. They're representing Green Vibe World, which is a nonprofit organization focused on environmental stewardship. We've been working with Green Vibe since last spring to manage and maintain our properties at Mill and McCarran, specifically the Bristlecone property. And I will let them present on all of the great work that they've been doing on site. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to say that we're very excited to be working with them. We've been very pleased with the work that they've done and excited about the potential to grow and expand these efforts in the future. So thank you very much.
Chairman Abbott, members of the board, thank you so much for the opportunity to come and present to you today to speak to all of the wonderful things that we've been able to do at the Bristlecone site and provide an update on progress. Let me get this loaded real fast. So to begin, this is our 2025 operational update. I wanted to begin by providing a project overview. On June 1st, we went into an agreement with Truckee River Flood Management Authority for the management and maintenance for the property located at 1725 McCarran. The overall goal of the project was, pending the finalization of the plans, to maintain the property consistent with the nature of the area in which it is located in order to prevent further deterioration or blight on the site. The chief objectives that we held were vegetation management, homeless outreach and management, and waste and pollution management on site. The Green Vibe approach. Based on the challenges we faced on site, we established that regular presence was one of the best deterrents for ongoing camping on site. As such, we made the commitment to perform services on site at a minimum of twice per week. The way that we approach our services is through a push for community engagement and education. Something our organization has done for the past 5 years is organize community involvement in these stewardship projects. We have done such with the Bristlecone project as well, driving both businesses, individuals from our community, and at-risk youth with the Youth Parole Program to come help us with our stewardship actions on site. Paramount to success, of course, is communication and reporting. We have established a stringent and accurate reporting process where we are providing status reports on a monthly basis using service maps that we initially mapped out in the beginning weeks of the project to gauge progress and service on site there. And then, of course, Green Vibe, as an environmental nonprofit, has a commitment to stewardship, the health of our planet, and we work diligently to maintain the beauty and integrity of our natural ecosystems. So as our early operations kicked off, we had to understand what we were getting into. And we started with an initial mapping and surveying of the location. So this involved us going out. Thank you, Marty. I appreciate it. She always comes in clutch with the glass of water right as I'm getting nervous and struggling here.
Doing great.
So we conducted the initial mapping and surveying of the location. This helped us gauge project needs and establish a series of priorities on site. We actually use this map also in our reporting. As I said, it really helps us when it comes to, hey, we tackled this area of white spot, we cleaned up this camp, and providing that visibility to the Flood Management Authority as well. As a result of our initial mapping exercise, we identified 4 active campsites, which posed our first real challenge on site. As you know, we cannot have illegal camping. Poses all sorts of liabilities and risks, not only to the Flood Management Authority, but to the community that we bring on site to perform this work. So with this initial human element challenge, we approached it in a multi-pronged approach. First and foremost, we provided outreach services, communicated with the Flood Management Authority, and established that we'd like to give 1 week notice to vacate the premises. Through some informational interviews with the individuals, we found that some individuals had been, in their words, living on site for 10 years. And so this was a challenge that we wanted to approach with finesse and sensitivity, as I think that was our best route to beginning ongoing success. Services and support were offered, including whenever we were on site for that week, we'd offer water, basic amenities for individuals that might not have access to those. We gave official notice, both a 1 week and a 24-hour notice provided. Even though we did give a week, no one left until the very final hours of that notice period. Following the trespassing of individuals, we proceeded with a very quick turnaround on camp cleanups, as what we found is if you don't clean the camps up quickly, it's just a series of returning to where they were calling home. And then we put in place ongoing prevention. And so what we saw in the first few weeks following the trespass was campers coming back on site. We solved that with putting surveillance systems in place. So we took game cameras that pinged to my cell phone constantly, and we put them up around site so we had visibility and information. We put signs saying, guess what, you're being recorded, no trespassing. We put locks on gates. To date, we have had no long-term camping on site since these first 4 camps have been trespassed. Very proud to say that. Ongoing stewardship. So following the abatement of camping on site, we've been focusing on systematically working through our service area, removing white top, invasive species, thistles, waste, pollution, trash, performing regular patrols of the site, and engaging the community with service days, opportunities, like I said, both businesses, individuals from our community that find us through our social media postings and our service day offerings. And then something that we've been really proud of is we're working with the youth parole program to offer an outlet working with young men going through their program that need to give service to community. And we found the opportunity to provide that to them through the Bristlecone Project. So far, we've had 41 successful service days and more scheduled in the near future. I wanted to also, I can sit here and talk all day. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Here are a few before photos of the camps that we encountered and the waste on site. And then proudly, some after shots of what those are looking like today. And while pictures are great, I do have this brief cleanup video, and this shows our crew in action. This was a collection of about 4 individuals from our community and our internal Green Vibe team. Of course, done in time lapse for everybody's sensitivity to time. And then here is our internal team handling some of the white top. What we're doing here is we're pulling it from the roots to prevent further spread. So trying to get those roots run deep, let me tell you, but trying to get them as best we can to prevent the oncoming return of the white top, as it's an ongoing challenge. And as we move forward, just to give you a progress snapshot, 8 total camps have been removed. This includes existing abandoned camps that were on site that needed to be cleaned. Some of these present themselves more as foliage starts going into its dormant state in the winter. So there were some camps that came to light that we didn't see initially on our mapping that, like I said, due to leaves falling, foliage starting to go dormant, we were able to find they were hidden. We've done 11 total trespasses, including the first 5 individuals who were resident on site, and then we've been pretty active in any time that we witness people coming on site to do a quick trespass. We've had no issues, no safety concerns whatsoever, and everyone's left property in a timely and quick fashion. We have not had to call RPD nor law enforcement to assist in these past the very first trespass incident. Over 10,000 pounds of pollution, waste, and noxious weeds have been removed from site. We weigh all of the waste, the weeds, all of the, we try and track these metrics for reporting purposes. We've had over 350 community engagement hours on site and 40+ service days conducted. And so as we're entering our 7th month of operations here on site, we look forward to continuing this and hopefully growing this service as we go forward. The one thing I didn't add into my presentation today, and I'd like to touch on as well, is we also have a community garden that we started this last year in collaboration with the Sparks Kiwanis group. It's been a great partnership. We were able to engage over 200 community hours, hosted 6 educational workshops, and donated almost 200 pounds of food to the Ronald McDonald Kitchen. We also hope to expand and grow upon that, no pun intended, this upcoming season.
Awesome. I think
that is my presentation. Any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
sounds good. Any questions or comments for the Green Vibes
I
crew?
have one.
Yeah, Ms. Stewart.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, this is an amazing report. I mean, wow. Kudos to you and to George for getting this set up. You mentioned a few things I wanted to follow up on. You mentioned educational workshops just in your last bullet there, or point. So who's attending these workshops? Like, who are they for?
Oh, so we open them up to the public and we advertise them through our social media channels and newsletters. We had quite a few of just community members. I can't say from any specific
Like 10?
demographic. Oh, goodness. We've had, on the low end, probably 10 up to 30
Okay.
at our different events. And
I haven't seen, I'm on social media, but I haven't seen them advertised. I just might have missed it. So the other thing is when you say you trespass them, what does that mean?
We give a trespass notice. And so when individuals say they're looking like they're moving in, they have a big cart full of tents coming on camp, we will find them. Usually the cameras alert us to their presence. We will engage with the individual, let them know that they are on private property, that camping is illegal, and that they must leave the.
So, I mean, it's like, looks like a very official formal notice. Is that it?
There is a written formal notice that we provide.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to ask is, it sounds like you've been able to maintain this with camp-free. So whatever you're doing, which you've explained, and it sounded like the innovative use of the cameras, pinging to your phone.
That helped a lot.
It seems like a key element here. I just wonder if you could talk, maybe you already have, with our Downtown Reno partnership. Have you ever met with them?
Are you referring to the River Rangers
No,
program?
the
Excuse me.
bid, the downtown, I can get with you after.
If you would.
The partnership, so they work on this subject a lot themselves. And we also have a group at the city, several different, that are like clean and safe team and a variety of other things that work with this area. But I think it would be good to work sort of section by section through the river, expand your model and work with the other jurisdictions where they have ownership along the banks to implement what you're doing, especially with your trail cams and such. I really think, I would love to help you set up a meeting with them, a couple different parts of the city or the Downtown Partnership, which is a separate sort of nonprofit or corporation group, to see if we can expand this, because it's working, it
Sure.
seems like.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I'd love that opportunity.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Lawson.
I was under the impression that we had the River Rangers doing this work. Aren't we paying them $200,000 a year to do this?
We are paying them up to a certain sum. I don't think it's 200 right now, but their job is to patrol. So they go through and they patrol and they look at the greater property. The Green Vibe is more focused on the Bristlecone Corner area more, and then along the levee is where they focus more. They do go out some, but the problem is that it's 140 acres of property. So the rangers do that. The need for it is diminished because of such a great job they're doing, because most our homeless issues do occur in that corner and along that levee where Green Vibe is, and now there's no problem. So it is diminished greatly because of the work they do. It's been awesome.
I'd specifically remember the River Rangers coming, giving a presentation and showing a before and after on the cleanup that they're doing. So I'm just confused, I guess.
The before and after pictures that they were showing were further upriver, close to the Rock Bridge, as opposed to down by the McCarran Bridge where the Bristlecone property is.
So we're paying the River Rangers an unknown amount of money. and
It's
we're
in,
gonna-
it's
and
in
we're
the
paying Green Vibe.
150,000.
I don't know, even know how much we're paying you guys, but, and you are doing a great job, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, the contract we have with Green Vibe, a lot of it's voluntary, and a lot of it's for expenses. There's a lot of expenses as they're actually out there managing things. So it's not very much money. I think it's up to 70,000, but they haven't charged that much yet. No, I'm wrong.
The contract that
Slower.
we have right now is for 48,500
With Green Vibe.
with Green.
What about the River Ranger?
I'm not managing.
We've
that.
spent we're at about 150,000. It's an up to amount. That's why I didn't know where we're
You guys are
at
a great
exactly.
value.
Mr. Lawson, may I speak? I can say that I'm very happy that River Rangers have presence on site as they help to reinforce the efforts that we've taken. I'm very happy to say that through our efforts, I think we've provided a safe and easily approachable patrol on that site based on our initial push to secure the location.
I'm doubting any of that. It seemed like we have two different programs doing the same thing.
Well, if I may as
Yes.
well, not entirely the same thing. As for maintaining the property in regards to the vegetation control, the pollution removal, as well as the trespassing and patrol, that's where I believe we are showing differences along the entirety of the
Yeah, you
Bristlecone site.
guys are addressing the vegetation, which needs to be done. The white top is a invasive
Correct.
species. But, all right. I think it's something we have to talk offline about.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, I would just add, and I think if you look at the area that they're responsible for, I think you guys are very focused. Maybe you can clarify that. Is it maybe a quarter mile along the river, or half a mile? What do you think the distance is? Is it like 1,000 feet?
I'd estimate it at 3/4 of a mile
Okay.
along the river.
So I think the River Rangers, what I understand, cover at least 10 miles from along the entire length of the river. And I think their role is more enforcement, if you will, than you guys are actually focusing on us very, as Mr. Robinson or Dr. Robinson said, a very focused area along where Bristlecone is. There's 14 acres right there, and so on. And then he also mentioned the area. So it's not just a lineal line along the river. It's also the area that we've acquired. And I think you just mentioned that you're not working up by Rock and McCarran, but they are. Is that true?
We are currently not working around Rock and McCarran, at least for the Flood Management Authority. We do independent projects in that area
Okay,
as a
good.
501c3, but not.
Gotcha, as a volunteer group. Okay. So as you dig into it, maybe you can explain over time the differences of the assignment or the scope of work. I think it
Yeah,
would help.
and a big thing is this, the River Rangers maybe do some incidental litter pickup, but Green Vibe does massive litter pickup.
Right.
I mean, I'm one of the volunteers that goes out there. I mean, I actually go out on the weekends with these guys, and we've loaded up gigantic, I mean, they didn't have a video of that, but the gigantic waste bins of material. So the amount of work that Green Vibe does because of the volunteers is amazing. And the fact that like one time there were well over 100 people out there, and we got to talk to them and spend time. I even gave a little speech about what we're trying to do at Rock McCarran. It's a massive outreach to people that are interested in the river and the natural system there. So I'm thrilled with what Green Vibe is doing.
And then I'll just add that I think, I don't know that you've paid 150,000 because I think we just some of these people are just been hired.
I think that's estimated for the year. It's a.
Oh, for the year, yes.
For the duration, 150 for the duration of the
Yeah, I
contract.
think they've
don't know
only
where
been
it
on
stands
board
right
like 2
now.
months. So, some of them.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
longer than that, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, I will definitely give you guys a shout out. I've also been a volunteer out there. I know, I think looking at your numbers, I remember that one day, I think we loaded up a whole 20-yard dumpster plus some, and I don't think we were weighing yet that day. So I think there's some more weight that you guys have done some good jobs or good stuff on. I do know that you guys do your monthly vibe. So if any of my colleagues are interested, it's Green Vibe or greenvibeworld.org is how you sign up, right?
That's correct.
And it's Green Vibe World or Green Vibe for Instagram and Facebook, or just Instagram, I think, right?
I think we're only present on Instagram.
It's both, but it's both Green Vibe World.
Green Vibe World, yeah. And so I know they are always doing cleanups. I think your last one got canceled because of the weather.
Yep.
I couldn't make it anyways, but I felt a little bit better that I couldn't make it because. So is there another one coming up?
Date to be determined,
okay.
but absolutely. We will have something on the books here sooner than later, especially
Sounds
as
good.
the weather starts turning.
And I'll say for anyone that hasn't been to one, I think we've all volunteered at KTNB at some time, and they're a great organization. This is definitely it is more fun. They have music playing, people walking around. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. Yeah. So definitely recommend signing up to get the newsletter.
Green Vibe.
It's a green vibe. Any other questions, comments? You guys have anything else?
Thank you.
Perfect. Then, Ms. Andriella.
I just wanted to say thank you because obviously you're fairly new in terms of what you're doing and seeing the progress and seeing. I think everyone is looking for. There's always best practices, but you don't always have to have the cookie cutter be the same way in order to have a great cookie. And the result is that I too think that cameras and surveillance certainly was an interesting point of your presentation along with the outcome. So I just I follow you on Instagram and we've had conversations before, and I think all the jurisdictions would benefit from continuing to know what is working and then sharing what others are doing, quite frankly, because I think sometimes what happens is everyone's doing a great job in their lane, and it may be some overlap, and I think the sharing of that from a community standpoint is really beneficial. So, reaching out to some folks, and I'm going to probably speak with you later about some ideas as well. So I really just want to say officially thank you, and thanks for engaging the team and creating a green vibe. I haven't had the pleasure of actually going out, but I've certainly am looking forward to participating. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and we look forward to you coming out and participating and joining the vibe.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Off to item 7, presentation by Kiwanis Club of Downtown Sparks regarding their activities of Turf Mo's 5305 Mill Street building. Mr. Walls, and I know we got Roger.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Roger and Ellen Jacobson from the Sparks Downtown Kiwanis. The Kiwanis Club has had a lease with us since May of 2019 for their pedestrian bike safety program. They did some significant alterations to that building so it would fit their purposes, and they've been operating there ever since, moving a large number of bicycles into the community and doing some safety training as well as some other activities. So with that, I'll turn the time over to them.
Well, thank you again very much. I'm Roger Jacobson. I'm actually the president of our Sparks Club, and although we have most of our members are
No worries.
She's going to fix something.
most of our members are actually from Reno, but it's it's a very, as you know, the two cities are kind of one in reality. So we are, again, I say, very happy that we have a chance to come here on Valentine's Day and talk to you, and appreciate the time to do this. So I'm going to start going through this. Again, we've named this our activity center because we do actually do more than just bicycles. We have a lot of other programs that are tied in at that. And if you can see behind the Safety Town sign, that's actually, I didn't focus more on the garden because I knew that Green Vibe was going to be here. But in that garden area, which has really been special, we have over a dozen really nice fruit trees that we harvest things from, a lot of grapevines, and I think about 20 raised beds for the produce that was taken out primarily with Green Vibe. So that was that's been a great partnership between the two of us. Actually, they're also members of our Kiwanis Club.
Might tell them what's in the middle picture.
The middle picture is actually our Action Club. We sponsor an Action Club, which is adults with disabilities, and one of their highlights of their day was they actually have a couple of the garden plots there, and they come in and work with those, and they built us a scarecrow because that seemed like an important thing to do. You can kind of see the scarecrow is behind everybody, that kind of a round thing with the baseball cap. So that was their thing. So again, we have over 60 members and volunteers that work here. We've been doing this for many years. Again, each year we have about 5,000 hours of volunteer time. We're at the shop basically 4 or 5 days a week, at least 20 hours, sometimes 30 hours. So we use the building and the facility there all the time. It's not like just an occasional thing. We're there a lot. And our big focus, of course, is teaching kids. I mean, that's our big thing about bicycles, bicycle safety, and some of the other programs, so that we work a lot with, and I'll show you some other groups here, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and others. You see Big Steve Olson and his little brother. His little brother, that was a while ago. His little brother is now taller than what he is. So, again, as probably some of you know, when we started at the building, it kind of needed help. We went through that with a couple of people, and it was somewhat vandalized, so we invested quite a bit of cash money. The requirement was to get the contractors to work with us. We need to have licensed contractors, had to do all the work. We put in a lot of cash. We were lucky because we just sold a lot of Burning Man bikes, which some of you probably know about, and so we actually had that, and we had to take out a few loans. And then we had a lot of contributions. Many of the firms we worked with said, well, we can cut a little bit. And of course, some of us were there for like 4 or 5 months, getting there early, getting our generators going, getting the lights going, the heat on, so that when the contractors showed up, they could start working right away. And so that really worked well. We had a lot of volunteers. We totally did, like say, all new electrical, all new plumbing, all new HVAC, put in fire alarm system, security system, et cetera. So and of course, it's a really solid building. If you've been there, it's a block building with a metal roof. It's really sturdy. And of course, in addition, on the outside, we added a big pump track. That was actually an Eagle Scout project that came in and did that for us. We have the walking safety that we do. And of course, we talked about the gardening, where we had to put in a new irrigation system and build all the new beds that were there and used. Here are some of the contractors we worked with. You probably recognize some of these, like Q&D Construction. They're kind of around town a lot. They were very helpful. They actually did all the work. They carried some of our contract stuff, and they did it for free. One of our members that worked there had just retired from Q&D and said, if Dan's there doing some of the work, we're good. We don't have to. So that was really nice. And we had, like I said, all the other groups, like the electrical and other people that worked with us. We also had Quick Space, helped us a lot. I forgot to put them, or we didn't put them on there. But again, as you can see, it's a really solid building. I'm not sure if all of you visited the building, but you're certainly welcome to come in anytime. I'd like to give you a tour of what's there. Again, the Kiwanis Club is an international group. We're a nonprofit, of course, and we work, again, our focus is on kids, children. And we have partnered with, of course, other Kiwanis clubs and other groups. I think we'll see some of those here. Again, a big focus is on repair and, as you can see, education. Always have a few cute kid pictures. You see the three girls over there. They were in one of our summer camp. They were the little Three Musketeers, and they were just wonderful to work with. A lot of our volunteers. Turns out that the people that like to be Kiwanis members and do that actually like to work with kids. A lot of service groups collect money and give to groups, we have a lot of people that like to actually work with kids one-on-one and do things like bike camps and other things like that. So you can see, they even dragged me out. That's me riding here. This is a good thing for us old people to get out and ride bikes with kids. It's a wonderful thing to do. So we also, of course, recondition bikes in addition to that. And we, of course, we started this whole program, and that's that third bullet here, started the whole program by having it a system where we donate bikes to the school district primarily and other groups as incentive programs. So we've been doing 500 plus bikes per year. Actually, before the pandemic, we were doing almost 1,000 bikes per year to the school district and others for since 2000. So when you add the numbers up, we're talking 15,000 bikes, maybe even a few more that we've given away. Our daughter, who's a business consultant, says, you realize that it's not a great business model when you give away more things than you sell. So, but we sell enough bikes to keep the doors open, and we really thank you for having this building because that really helps us to do this. We also, of course, have special programs with adults. We have veterans helping veterans coming in every month. The veterans come in that need bikes for transportation. Other veterans that know how to fix bikes come in. We provide all the bikes and parts, and they put them together, and at the end of the time, then they go away with a nice bike that's a good transportation for them. We have been working with, of course, at Action Club, as you saw earlier, and we have scouts, for example, that on the top where you see that one young man riding, that's a pump track that was built as an Eagle project. So they just refurbished that. We again had this wonderful thing with tall white top that just, it's just terrible stuff. But they clean that out. You can see a little bit of green there. That's still kind of, it keeps cropping up. So we're gonna have to go fight that again. But, and we've worked with, like I said, the veterans are a great group that we've worked with a lot. Again, we have the, using this as a facility, we also then work with other groups like Safe Kids. You can see some of these here. We have our own work with our Kiwanis crafters and our friends there. We have, in addition to that, we sponsor, of course, Key Clubs at the high schools, and we use this as, again, they come in to do service there, which is a great thing for them and for us. They feel really like that is something that they can work with us on every day. So we have, like I say, we cooperate with other groups like Safe Kids, which is a group that we work with, which is a renown-based activity. And we, in fact, there's a meeting later today with them. So we also, a side project, a couple of us decided to work with another international group developing what we're calling a Sinowik pellet stove, which is actually Kiwanis spelled backwards, for cooking in Africa. And we've used this facility to do some of that, and it's been, again, a great help. And of course, we have all these different community events. On an average year, we do about 20-some different events in the community. And as you can see, there's a couple of them listed here. Here are some of the community partners that we've done. Ellen is our great communicator. She's the one that touches base with people. A lot of the rest of us bike people don't do that as much, but hooked up with all these different groups. We work with them basically on a regular basis, and it's been great for us. And according to what we have learned from them, it's a good partnership both directions.
Naomi? Yes. I've got copies for you later.
Okay, thank you.
If you want to see these, yeah.
Maybe it was
So
a
we got some
picture of you,
we've got
though.
some handouts for you guys here if you want them. We didn't want to throw paper at you yet. I'm sure most of you see enough paper through your daily jobs. Again, this on the left there is the Veterans Helping Veterans. They come in and get bikes. And of course, the picture we have there was during pandemic, which is why there was a lot less people, because it was kind of scary to have a lot of people that hadn't worked with each other much to come in. And so we're all wearing masks and trying to do this. So it was a small group when we do those kind of things. We started recently working with Reno Parks and Rec with their Park Ranger program. In fact, we did our first event a week and a half ago.
Mama Park.
Yeah, and that was fun. Again, the Action Club is growing. They really enjoy coming in and helping. A few of them like to come in regularly and help with bikes. It's really interesting because they feel really empowered when they're able to actually fix a bike for a kid. and they go away like, we did something really good today, so. It sometimes takes a lot of time to get that bike done, but it's
The other thing we have, Reno Parks and Rec is letting us use their facility for our action club because we have 20-some members now, plus caregivers who come, which means 30 or 40 people don't fit in our conference room.
Again, we also, because we're able to do this, we're not, we're giving funds actually to these various groups and others. There's a few others that we do on a one-on-one basis, but these are the ones that we fund on a regular basis. Well, I guess Hawaii, we're not going to do that every year, but the rest of those, we are basically contributing dollars to those every year. Again, where the funds come from? We decided early on we weren't going to try to get a lot of grants and contracts because if we could do it ourselves, what happens is, what we found out, of course, Ellen and I both lived on grants and contracts through our work and knew how to do this. The big thing is not getting it, it's managing it. And that takes a lot of time and effort. And so if we could do it without that, so we sell Burning Man bikes, and we do our own bike sales, and then we have our pairings project, which is our pairings coming up in about a month, where we do various food, wine, and beer, and the TMCC culinary students do the cooking for us. It's a great event. So it's going to be at the Elks Club. So there's some handouts outside if you're interested in that later. We're really fortunate recently to get donations from various places, individuals, companies, and I believe some of you have given us some funds that were available in the past. We really appreciate that. We thank you. Again, our budget is around $200,000 with our contributions. According to our tax people, it's even bigger. And we use that. We keep updating the building. Again, we just had to put in a better security system and build some more fences. Since Green Vibe and others have cleared out our friends along the river, we've had a lot less visitors. In fact, almost no visitors, which is really nice. And I think our farmers think the same thing. It's really nice to have less friends coming in. We have a total camera system, so every morning at breakfast, I look at our cameras to see who might have been there. So, of course, snowy weather, that seems like that deters people, so we're good on that. Again, if that one picture, you can see us, there's a trailer there hauling bikes. We've always do things like the mayor's bike rides that used to be happening all the time. We have, again, youth groups are our big focus. We try to have these bike events and pedestrian safety for the littler kids to teach them about that. Ellen learned early on about the green light, red light, yellow light. You want to tell them about that?
Red means stop, green means go. What does a yellow light mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. And so Renown identified the key things that they saw kids getting hurt or dying from. And the coloring book that's sitting out front, if anybody wants one, if you have any kids that might appreciate one, we're going to various immunization fairs and places like that with pedestrian safety education, because the Renown Children's Hospital and Renown Safe Kids said that's one of our biggest problems in town right now. But it stages from the shop or the activity center into the community, because it takes a lot of wherewithal to do all that kind of thing. We have a stoplight, we have a stop sign, other things that we store and then take with us when we go to events.
But so that's, like I said, that's been something that is nice to have a facility to house things in.
We might mention too, we don't create events anymore. We piggyback on ones that other people create, whether it's 39 North in Sparks or whether it's Washoe County at Paradise Park, or City of Reno is probably our biggest partner in finding places they want us to come, like park rangers. So rather than us having to do all the advertising and marketing, we love to rely on you. Maybe that says we're lazy.
Yeah. So again, the activity center it's sort of our foundation to do things. We, like I said, we try to get out in the community and do things, but having a wonderful home like this is again a great start on the whole thing. So again, I want to thank you very much. I would just add that our facility again has allowed us to do programs that we couldn't do without that, if we didn't have this building, we would be a much smaller part of what we're currently doing. I was going to ask if there's a chance that we could do the TAC meeting you talked about later. Is that for anybody, or is that a special group?
Public meeting, yeah.
I'm sorry?
It's a public meeting.
Okay, and that's where?
It'll be at our offices and on Zoom
Oh, okay. Today?
today,
Okay.
What time?
12:30. 12:30.
And again, so I thank you very much. We'll happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Roger. Any questions, comments from up here?
Complaints?
I don't think we have. I think we're good, Ellen. Oh, Ms. Stewart?
Yeah, thanks for coming and giving us an update. You know, it's really good to get these updates. Thank you for putting it on, George. To know what's going on in our properties and how we're reaching out to the community beyond just our focus on flood. You know, the fact that we have land and had a building and could help support your program is amazing. And I didn't know myself the diversity of your programs. You know, I knew about the bikes.
Yep.
I've been there. My husband and I have helped move the bikes to the Burning Man and fix bikes and buy bikes too, give you some money. But, you know, I didn't know about the community garden, and I didn't know about your partnership with Green Vibe. And I'm sure there's an expansion too with Soulful Seeds, you know, which do community gardens. But anyway, I'm just grateful you're here. And I love that you're embedded in Sparks. And when you said we were one, Reno and Sparks, I had to give a quick look to the mayor and said, don't say that too loud. They're very proud of their separate identity, but I'm glad you can work across
we're almost
boundaries.
on the border. We're really on the
Tip of the
between
border,
two.
yeah. But anyway, thanks for doing what you do. It's really appreciated.
Give these to them enough.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. And I know we also have two volunteers back here, Les and Colleen Need. Les is a retired Sparks. It was captain, right, for fire?
Oh, thank you.
Uh-huh. He's been my old work neighbor, so. Thank you all for doing what you're doing. I bought a bike this year down there and doing great things. You know, I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. I know my rights.
I am going to say that one of the best bikes that I bought many bikes from the Kiwanis Club. The Jacobsons may not realize that, but our favorite bike came from one day we were volunteering, and this years ago. And my husband, we're both geologists, came across a bike covered in rocks, and completely covered in rocks. It weighs a ton, so to speak. And it's you cannot ride it, but it's a permanent feature in our garden, and everyone comments on it always. So we think about you a lot. And then I have some really well-functioning bikes that I bought for other people going to Burning Man that didn't know about it, or our own bike. I bought a bike there for me. So it's really, really helpful.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again. We will go to item 8, public comment. Any public comment?
I don't have any submitted. I do want to say, if you want to get news from us, you can sign up for our news and alerts on our website. So that's a good idea.
Perfect. I don't see public comment here. We'll close that. Go to item 9, board member comments, request future agenda items. I don't see anyone jumping with joy on that one either. So we'll adjourn today at 10:26. Happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy.
Recording stopped.